Hey everyone, welcome back to the Music Hole. My name is Cole, and today is going to be the 7th entry in my Best Albums of All Time series. And we're going to do something different today. We're going to go back into the past, back to 1992, and the name of this band is Sugar. Copper Blue is the name of the album. And so Sugar is interesting because famed singer-songwriter Bob Mould created it after his band Husker Du broke up. And if you don't know who Husker Du are, they're a really famous cult band from the 80s, and I highly recommend checking them out. If you go to my website, I have some albums of theirs listed that you can check out. But anyway, so the sound of this album, it's a really fun album. It's like alternative rock / grunge pop would be kind of a way I would describe it. You know, a lot of energy, a lot of hooks. The guitars in this album sound really, really good. Bob Mould just has a really great ear for guitar hooks and the actual like sound of the guitars themselves with the effects on them. He just has a great ear for it. But anyway, so yeah, I really like this album. One of my favorites. Let's get into it. Yeah, so that crunchy, chugging guitar sound is just so powerful. And, you know, among some of my favorite albums of all time, this might be, you know, like a top 10 favorite start to any album that I've ever heard. And I love how it transitions into the drumming, which is also terrific. I love the drumming on the song. Sonically speaking, this song is just really, really strong. I have another clip that I'm going to play in that regard. However, unfortunately, I'll admit that I'm not entirely sure what the song is about. It's called The Act We Act, which might imply something about, you know, putting on a front to either impress somebody or to get something you want. I don't know, but I don't think that has to do with the song exactly. But anyway, so this song, just sonically speaking, is really, really good. In terms of lyrics for the album as a whole, I just want to quickly say that it's one of those albums where not many lyrics jump out at me on like a casual listen. And by casual listen, I mean, you know, I'm not like super closely paying attention to what Bob Mould is saying. But for this review, you know, I Googled the lyrics for each song. And I'm going to admit that some of these songs, I had no idea. You know, I've been listening to this album for so many years that like, I was actually really surprised when I found out what some of these songs are actually about. So I can't wait to get into that. But anyway, let's listen to clip number 2 from track 1 and just have some ear candy.
Turns to light in a distant flash of
So yeah, this is kind of like, I guess, the chorus-ish part of the song. And just the sound of the guitar about 10 or 15 seconds into the clip, where it gets really kind of like higher pitched or higher frequency. I'm not sure how you say it, but just that sound is like, as I said, it's just, this album is ear candy. It's just like, oh my goodness, he has such a great ear for just sounds in general. And I mean, this song in particular is probably my favorite song, just from a sonic standpoint. Even though, and I'm skipping ahead just a little bit. You know, the lead single on this song, or this album, I believe is track 4, Helpless, which is another just incredible single. So that is like tied with this song for my favorite. But anyway, I mean, this song, it's just an excellent beginning to the album. It just gets you right in the mood. You know, basically the whole album, it has a kind of similar sound to this song. You know, if you want to nitpick, I would say that the sound of this album is not really diverse. You know, by that I mean that like each song has kind of like the same energy to them. So that's a slight letdown. Again, it's not really a big deal. Like, I don't really care, but you could point that out. So I'll just point that out. You know. But anyway, that's all I have to say about the Act React. It's a great beginning. But track 2 is really interesting for a couple reasons, which I'll get into. I have two clips from track number 2. So let's check it out. That bass line is so good, and you know, there are a couple reasons why I clipped this. You know, I wanted to clip it because just the sound of the beginning of the song is just amazing, just really memorable. But this song is also interesting because in terms of that bass line, I've read that it's kind of like an homage to the Pixies. You know, the song Debaser kind of starts in a very, very similar way. So that's kind of interesting. And by the way, that Pixies album with Debaser, amazing album. Check it out. But anyway, I have another clip from this song. It has to do with the lyrics, which I want to talk about for a couple reasons. As I mentioned earlier, this would be an example of a song where, you know, I've listened to it dozens of times, but I never really understood what it was about. But today, as I was doing this review, I looked at the lyrics and I was like, oh my goodness, I had no idea. So anyway, let's check it out and you'll see what I mean. Yeah, oh my goodness. Like, you know, I mean, having read the lyrics now, I can hear it. I mean, part of my issue previously was that it's a little hard to hear what he's singing unless you're like really paying attention. But you know, having read the lyrics, I was listening to the song again, and now, you know, now I hear it. But yeah, I mean, the song is basically this guy, you know, is talking to his girlfriend and he's like, hey, let's hang out at this lake, you know, wouldn't that be cool? And she's like, yeah, that's a good idea. You know, a good idea is the name of a song. So they go to the lake, and basically he murders his girlfriend. He just drowns her in the lake. So yeah, I had no idea that's what the song was about. And it's interesting, because it makes me think of a few years later when the band Third Eye Blind had their massive radio hit, Semi-Charmed Life, which that ended up being famous, on one hand because it's a really summery, upbeat, fun, energetic pop song, but the lyrics on the song are pretty depressing. So in some ways, this song is kind of like the precursor to that song. So I kind of wonder if Third Eye Blind listened to this album. Anyway, so yeah, that's all I have to say about this song. So let's move on to track number 3, Changes. So yeah, Changes is a fairly simple song, lyrically. It's one of my favorite songs in the album, from a sonic standpoint. I just love it. Although it does kind of go on just a little bit too long, but that's neither here nor there. Lyrically speaking, it's pretty simple. Basically, Bob Mould's character is in this relationship, and it sounds like the relationship has reached a point where it's no longer fun, or it's not working. Things have changed. Changes being the name of the song. So it's fairly straightforward. I kind of always known what the song is about. It's not necessarily special lyrically, in the sense that there aren't any amazing lines per se, but it's a really good song. It's really energetic. It's really fun. One of my favorite songs. But there's not too much to talk about, really. But anyway, that's track 3. Track 4, as I mentioned, is really the song on the album, just in the sense of it's the lead single, but it really is just it's so memorable. It's one of the best 90s alt rock singles, for sure. But I feel like this song, and as I said, Bob Mould in general is kind of just this cult figure for some reason, in the sense that not too many people, at least that I've met, have heard his work. And it's really strange, especially when you consider the fact that the sound of this album, and when it came out, because it came out in 1992, the sound of this album is kind of it works with the time period in terms of what people were into. So it's kind of confusing why this wasn't really a huge hit, in my opinion, But anyway, so I have a clip from Helpless. Let's check it out. Yeah, so absolutely, this is my favorite part of the song. Just, sonically speaking, it's just an incredible song. It's so memorable. And the lyrics, I like the lyrics here because I can really identify with them. If I'm interpreting it correctly, it sounds like Bob Mold's character basically is the kind of guy who's kind of passive, he's non-confrontational, maybe slightly cowardly. That's kind of strong. But by that I mean, like, it seems like there's someone in his life, a friend, maybe a girlfriend. They're doing something, something that he wish would change. I don't know if it's like a behavior, maybe it's like a drug habit, whatever it is. But his character feels helpless in the sense that, like, as I said, like, he's non-confrontational. So, like, he wants this person to change their ways, but he's not willing to confront them about their problem. And I just thought that was really interesting. I mean, it's definitely something that I struggle with myself. There are definitely people in my life who I probably should confront about a few things, but I don't, because I'm a little bit passive. But anyway, I really like this song. Again, it's the lead single, but it's just a great song. It's one of those great pop songs. Definitely one of the best from the 90s. Unfortunately, the next track, Hoover Dam, is a bit of a letdown. It's a solid song. It's totally fine. But, like, in comparison to the last 4 songs, it doesn't really stand out lyrically or sonically to me. At least, like, enough for me to bother clipping it. So we're just going to skip track 5 and go straight to track 6, The Slim, which I really like. I think it's a great way to start side B. So let's check it out. Yeah, I love the dual guitar kind of interplay at the beginning of the song. You've got kind of like the electric guitar thing going on in the front of the mix, and more subtly, there's the acoustic guitar in the background. And I just think it's a really lovely sound. But really, my favorite part of this clip, and why I wanted to share it in particular, is just at the end. Just very simply, he says, "Do you know where you're going? Do you know where you've been?" And I really like this. I really like these lyrics. They really spoke to me. It's very simple, but it's very poetic. It's very philosophical. Because, how do you move forward in your life without having had some introspection, without having reflected on, past mistakes, things like that. It's just a really beautiful line. It's very simple, but I think it's really effective. And it got me thinking, about my life, because, I've certainly made my share of mistakes. But yeah, I just really liked it. It's a really good song. It's a great way to start side B. So that was The Slim, is the name of the song. Yeah, so we're going to talk about track 7. I really like track 7. I believe it was the second single. And it's an interesting song, so let's talk about it. So that's If I Can't Change Your Mind. And I really thought this song was interesting for a few reasons. First of all, it's the only song in the album that I can think of that it's all acoustic guitar based. You know, I think every other song on the album is an electric guitar based song. So that was kind of interesting. You know, they mixed it up just a little bit, which I appreciate as always. But lyrically speaking, I just love this. I love this part. It really speaks to my own journey in life, my own life experience. Because he talks about he's in this relationship, and for some reason, I guess his girlfriend thinks that he cheated on her, you know, and he didn't. But she's just completely convinced, and she leaves this guy, and her heart is broken. But her heart is broken for the wrong reason. So just in my own life, I had a really similar experience where, you know, a previous ex thought that I had cheated on them. You know, it's not important, the reason, like, that doesn't matter. Just the point is, I dealt with a very similar situation. So these lyrics really spoke to me. But also, I will admit, okay, I will admit that the singing on this song, at least in this section, like on this clip, I would say that the vocal melodies are kind of underwhelming. Nothing like terrible, but I don't know. It kind of seems like maybe he could have thought of a better way to do it. So I will say that. I will nitpick a little bit. You know, the vocal melodies in this section are just kind of like, you know, good enough, I guess. But anyway, so the next track, track 8, which is called Fortune Teller, is kind of like Hoover Dam. Just in the sense that, you know, we've got another solid song. It's totally fine. You know, which, I mean, that sounds kind of harsh the way I said it. It's totally fine. But it's another one of those songs that it just doesn't stand out to me. So let's just skip to track number 9. I have 2 clips for track 9. I like this song a lot. So let's check it out. So yeah, it's just a really different beginning, really creative. The name of the song is Slick, and you know, the beginning of the song is basically it's a car, you know, it's an automobile, and you know, immediately it makes me think of that classic 60s song, Leader of the Pack, by was it the Shangri-Las? I think it was the Shangri-Las, because that song had like a motorcycle in the beginning of that song. But anyway, that's an aside. I really like this beginning. You know, transitions from the guitar, or from the car, into that amazing guitar sound, and it's just a really wonderful beginning. This is definitely a highlight on side B, for me at least. But I have another clip from the song, and the sound of that car at the beginning of the song is very, very important as it pertains to the lyrics. So we're going to check that out in clip number 2. So let's listen to it. Yeah, again, just another totally depressing song. I mean, in the guise of a pop song. So like the song is about this guy, if I'm interpreting it right, who I guess he's in a sports car, because he says that like he's driving his dream. So I could be interpreting that wrong, but let's just say he's driving a sports car, he's drunk, and he's, I guess, racing somebody. But he ends up getting into a car wreck. And later on in the song, he talks about basically his character. He got into this wreck, and now he's in the hospital. And I guess he's basically a vegetable, But he's a vegetable, but he's like aware of what's going on around him. He's aware of like the nurse taking care of him. And basically he's just like, please get me off these machines so I can just die or something. So yeah, a really depressing song. But it's a good song, it's definitely a highlight on side B for me. But unfortunately, as far as the last track goes, Man on the Moon, it's a bit like Hoover Dam. It's a bit like Fortune Teller. It doesn't really stick out to me in any meaningful way. So I'm not going to clip it. But anyway, so let's have some final thoughts. Again, just a really energetic, fun, memorable album. It's one of my favorite 90s albums, absolutely, even though it kind of stutters occasionally. And I kind of want to go on a tangent a little bit in regards to like, obviously this is in my series of best albums. But when it comes to this album, in the series in general, like my minimum requirement would be that I would personally give it at least a 9 out of 10. And this album for me is basically a 9 out of 10. Because if you want to nitpick it, as I said, it's not very diverse. Like every song is the same type of song, basically. So you could nitpick that. You could also talk about the lyrics. There aren't really any standout lyrics as far as I'm concerned. I did talk about some lyrics, but like really on a casual listen, nothing super crazy stood out to me. So this is just me being really nitpicky. Like if I was really nitpicky, I'd give this a 9. But again, like this is one of my favorite albums. I listen to it really often, and I'm just really excited to talk about it. So, I hope you like it. Again, if you don't like it, feel free to tell me why, or if you have like certain interpretations that I didn't consider, feel free to talk about them in the comments. And again, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. It would help out. I enjoy making videos. Sometimes I have more things to say for one album than I do on another album. But you know, that's just, it is what it is. But yeah, this is Sugar, Copper Blue. Check it out. I hope you like it. Yeah, have a good one.